네, 코로나19 백신이 개발이 된다고 하더라도 이 개발 후에 과제가 아주 많을 거라는 사실은 익히 짐작이 가능한데요. 특히 전 세계적으로 누구에게 얼마나 먼저 줄 것이냐, 즉 공평하고 공정한 분배가 벌써부터 중요 이슈로 떠오르고 있습니다. 이를 위해 세계 각국 정부들과 협력해 벌써부터 노력하고 있는 기관이 있는데요. 바로 서울에 본부를 둔 국제백신연구소입니다. 국제백신연구소의 사무총장인 제롬 킴 박사로부터 코로나19 백신 개발의 현 주소와 앞으로 예상되는 난관들에 대한 이야기 발빠르게 들어봤습니다. 이번 인터뷰는 오늘 저녁 사전 녹화로 진행됐습니다. 함께 보시죠. So today we are hearing that there will be trials going into phase 3 sometime at the end of July. So where are we now in terms of the development for a COVID-19 vaccine?
It's a very exciting time. And people, when they use the word unprecedented, describing the activity around COVID vaccine, they're really correct. There are 23 products now in testing in humans, so in human clinical trials. And the most advanced products have already, in some cases, we think, entered phase 3 trials.
So when can we expect that? I mean, the vaccines for COVID-19?
Well, you know, a phase 3 trial is complicated and large. It involves tens of thousands of people. The estimate for each trial, and so imagine each of these 23 products may have to go through its own phase 3 trial. The estimate is 20 to 30,000 volunteers in each trial. So it takes a while to organize, to recruit people, and then to vaccinate them, and very importantly, to follow them up, because every single person who gets a vaccine or placebo has to be followed very carefully in order for scientists to be able to know whether a person who got vaccine became infected or was protected. And so we're hoping that by, October to December, we might be able to see the first early signs that a vaccine is actually protecting against infection or disease.
And how can we interpret U.S. FDA designating 2 COVID-19 vaccine candidates for fast-track approval today?
So it's not superfluous, because it's important that they did that. But really, given the importance of the COVID-19 pandemic for lives and sickness and illness and people around the world, and not to mention its impact on the economy, I think that most regulatory agencies like the FDA or the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety in Korea are really going to expedite review of these dossiers in any case.
So once COVID-19 vaccine is developed, do you think we have to get vaccinated every year like getting flu shot?
That's a great question. And, we don't know the answer to that question. I think that the pressure right now is to find a vaccine that works. And then over time, we will begin to understand more about that vaccine. How long do the protective or immune responses last? Will the vaccine mutate? The virus mutate away from the vaccine so that we'll have to develop new vaccines the way we do for flu. In general, we know that COVID does not mutate quickly. It mutates 10 times less quickly than the influenza virus and thousands of times less quickly than the HIV virus. So as we get more information, we'll know more, but the initial biology of the virus would suggest that it doesn't change all that quickly.
You just touched upon that issue a little bit, but even if we have a COVID-19 vaccine, there might be some expected and unexpected challenges. So what is your opinion on some of the challenges that we would face with the new vaccines? What should we expect?
So I think the expected challenges, we show that a vaccine works, great, but we need to manufacture it in sufficient quantity and quality to be used all over the world. And then we also have to make sure that it's equitably distributed. So those are the two known unknowns. We really need to be careful about safety because, we're developing this vaccine in 12 to 18 months rather than the 5 to 10 years we usually have. So that some of the longer term safety issues will probably not be addressed. Now, the good news is that most of the safety side effects that we see occur within the first few weeks after vaccination, if not the first month or two. So we will have that information. But what we won't know is whether at year 2 or year 3, whether there could be something that is very rare that we would only see if we're looking for it. So I think that as a group of vaccine developers in the world, we have to commit to following all the volunteers for safety for an extended period of time.
Last but not least, what do you find most fascinating about this coronavirus case? I mean, what makes this scenario unique?
It's really about the virus. So as a person who studied viruses for most of his career, this virus has a very unique set of characteristics. Unlike HIV, which infects you forever and you never get rid of it. And, in the old days, people would die of AIDS after 8 to 10 years of infection. This is a virus where 80% of people have very mild or minimal symptoms, but where a certain group of people, 15% of them, have to go to the hospital and run up, giant bills sometimes, have to be put on ventilators. And, in Korea, roughly 2%, but in other countries, significantly greater percentages of people die. And it has a disproportionate impact on the elderly and on people with underlying conditions. And it just kind of gets to the point where, we thought we understood, the United States thought it was prepared. And it really wasn't, because this virus, this infection really has a huge impact. And we never anticipated the number of hospitalizations. So, for instance, the United States has 12,000 ventilators in reserve. And the calculation was that if they hadn't done the initial lockdown, that they would have run out of ventilators, even though they had all these ventilators saved up. So, one of the things that epidemics teach you is that nothing you ever do will be prepared. So the most important thing is to be ready to look at the data, make decisions based on the data. And, in Korea, the KCDC was able to do that. They looked at data and they tried to adapt to changes in what they were expecting. And that's been very effective. And every country has had to do that. It hasn't been what we expected.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Kim. We appreciate your expertise here.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, Ms. Yap.